Hey there, procrastinators. You've just clicked on the right video if you've ever found yourself putting off important tasks, or maybe you are doing this right now by watching this video, only to wonder why you can't seem to manage your time better. But what if I told you that procrastination isn't actually about poor time management at all? Stick around. That might just change the way you think about your work habits forever. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, isn't procrastination the very definition of poor time management? Well, hold on to your planners, folks, because we're about to challenge that assumption. In the next few minutes, we'll explore why procrastinators aren't necessarily bad at managing their time, but are often emotional perfectionists trapped in a cycle of fear and avoidance. We'll look at the psychology behind this behavior, share some eye-opening studies, and even throw in a few quotes from famous procrastinators who've achieved great things. Plus, we'll discuss both the pros and cons of procrastination. Yes, you heard that right. There can be upsides to putting things off sometimes. Now, let's start by painting a picture that might feel all too familiar. It's Sunday afternoon, and you've got a big project due on Friday. You know you should start working on it, but instead, you find yourself reorganizing your sock drawer, deep cleaning the refrigerator, or suddenly deciding that now is the perfect time to learn how to juggle. Sound familiar? Well, congratulations. You're engaging in what psychologists call productive procrastination. But here's the kicker. This behavior isn't about poor time management skills. In fact, many procrastinators are excellent at managing their time, just not when it comes to the task they're avoiding. So what's really going on here? To understand this, we need to dive into the psychology of procrastination. Dr. Piers Steel, a leading researcher in the field, defines procrastination as voluntarily delaying an intended course of action despite expecting to be worse off for the delay. Notice how this definition doesn't mention time management at all? Instead, procrastination is more closely linked to our emotions and how we handle them. Specifically, it's often a result of what psychologists call emotional perfectionism. This isn't about being a perfectionist in the traditional sense of producing flawless work. Rather, it's about the perfect emotional state we think we need to be in to start a task. Let's break this down. When faced with a big project or important task, many procrastinators experience a flood of negative emotions. Anxiety about the outcome, fear of failure or judgment, overwhelming pressure to perform perfectly, uncertainty about where to start, dread of the effort required. These emotions can be so intense that they paralyze us, making it feel impossible to start the task. And here's where the procrastination comes in. Instead of facing these uncomfortable feelings head-on, we avoid them by doing other, less threatening tasks. We clean the house, organize our digital files, catch up on emails, anything that makes us feel productive without actually tackling the main task at hand. This creates a false sense of accomplishment and temporarily alleviates our guilt about not working on what we should be. But wait, there's more. Remember how I mentioned that procrastination can sometimes have upsides? Well, here's where things get interesting. Throughout history, some of the most brilliant minds have been notorious procrastinators. Leonardo da Vinci, for instance, took 16 years to complete the Mona Lisa. Frank Lloyd Wright designed his famous Fallingwater house in just 2 hours, after procrastinating for 9 months. And Douglas Adams, author of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, once said, "I love deadlines. I like the whooshing sound they make as they fly by." So, what gives? How can procrastination coexist with such incredible achievements? The answer lies in understanding that not all procrastination is created equal. Psychologists distinguish between two main types of procrastination: passive procrastination. This is the harmful kind we typically think of, where we avoid tasks out of anxiety or fear and end up scrambling at the last minute. Active procrastination. This is a more strategic form of delay, where people intentionally put off tasks to work under pressure, believing it enhances their creativity and performance. Research by Dr. Angela Shin-Chun Chu and Dr. Jin Nam Choi suggests that active procrastinators can be just as successful as non-procrastinators, and sometimes even more so. They found that active procrastinators often have better time management skills, higher self-efficacy, and lower stress levels than passive procrastinators. Now, before you start celebrating and putting off all your work, Let's be clear. Chronic procrastination can still have serious negative consequences. It can lead to missed opportunities, increased stress, lower quality work, and damage to personal and professional relationships. The key is understanding your procrastination patterns and learning to manage them effectively. So, how can we break free from the cycle of procrastination without falling into the trap of blaming our time management skills? Remember, done is better than perfect. Give yourself permission to start even if conditions aren't ideal. Large tasks can be overwhelming. Divide them into smaller, manageable steps to reduce anxiety and make starting easier. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This builds momentum and reduces your task backlog. Don't beat yourself up for procrastinating. Research shows that self-compassion can actually increase motivation and reduce procrastination. Create specific if-then plans for when, where, and how you'll complete tasks. For example, if it's 2 p.m., then I'll work on my project for 30 minutes. If you work well under pressure, set artificial deadlines for yourself or ask someone to hold you accountable. If anxiety or fear is driving your procrastination, consider seeking support from a therapist or counselor. Now, let's circle back to our main point. Procrastination is not about bad time management. It's a complex psychological phenomenon rooted in how we handle emotions, perfectionism, and fear. By understanding this, we can approach procrastination with more compassion and develop more effective strategies to overcome it. As Dr. Tim Pychyl, a prominent procrastination researcher, puts it, procrastination is an emotion regulation problem, not a time management problem. And Dr. Fuschia Sirois adds, procrastination is really a self-inflicted wound that gradually chips away at the most valuable resource in the world, time. But here's the good news. By recognizing procrastination for what it really is, a coping mechanism for difficult emotions, we can start to address the root causes rather than just trying to force ourselves to be more productive. So, the next time you find yourself putting off an important task, remember, you're not necessarily bad at managing your time. You might just be an emotional perfectionist trying to protect yourself from discomfort. And while that's totally human and understandable, it doesn't have to control your life. Instead of beating yourself up, try to approach your procrastination with curiosity. Ask yourself, what am I really avoiding here? What emotions am I trying to escape? And most importantly, what small step can I take right now to move forward? Remember, progress doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be progress. So go ahead, take that first imperfect step. Your future self will thank you for it. If you found this video helpful, don't procrastinate. Hit that like button and subscribe for more insights into the quirks of human psychology and productivity. And hey, leave a comment below sharing your own procrastination experiences or tips. Who knows? Your insight might be just what another viewer needs to hear. Until next time, keep moving forward, even if it's just one tiny step at a time.